Okay, I'm back. We in Psalm 78 and verse 42. And I'm just on one today. Y'all, excuse me. I'm just feeling the Most High, you know, and we need to talk about him. And this is a place where he's being talked about in song, really. Psalm 78 and 42. They remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy. I mean, how easy is it to forget? You go back and look at the story. I mean, I just went over this. And it's in my face again. It's in your face again. If you went through the scriptures that I went over pertaining to Passover one-on-one and us leaving the Egyptian captivity, and got to go through the Red Sea, Pharaoh coming after us with his chariots, and everybody know the reason why he let us go this time from all the plagues that the Most High had brought upon the Egyptians. He done killed his son, so you know he angry, and see the Red Sea open, and us go across the sea on dry ground. And not only that, but see Pharaoh and his army of chariots, when they go into the Red Sea on dry ground, the Most High closed the sea back up on them. And we see their dead bodies on the shore. Come on now. And here we are seeing all, knowing that that's a miracle of miracles. That's a miracle. And we saved. And still complaining and murmuring. Listen, we got more to bring out. So Psalms, the 78th chapter, the 42nd verse again. It say, they remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy. You see, y'all got to make sense of him delivering us from these so-called Africans, Egyptians, which he called the enemy. These other nations, as far as the Most High is concerned, are our enemies. He told us he's going to give us to our enemies if we didn't follow his rules and regulations, his laws, statutes, commandments. Understand that. Make it mean something different. It's saying they remembered not his hand, nor the day when he, that's the Most High, delivered them from the enemy. That's the so-called Africans, the Egyptians. How he had wrought his sight in Egypt and his wonders in the field of Zoan. These plagues that he brought upon the Egyptians. That he bringing the plagues upon our enemies today. And had turned their rivers into blood. Now he's going into the plagues. Remember the Most High, the works of the Most High, right? Teach the children the works of the Most High. Listen. And had turned their rivers into blood. And their floods that they could not drink. See? They had no water to drink. Made it blood. He set diverse sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. They wasn't just around. It said the flies devoured them, and the frogs destroyed them. I mean, it tell you how they opened up the stove, and there's frogs coming all out of it, jumping all over them. Destroyed them. He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust, eating up everything. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts, that's lightning, and fire coming out of the sky. He cast upon them, listen, he cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble, by sending evil angels among them. Hear that? By sending evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, killing them, but gave their life over to the pestilence, diseases, and so forth. It smote all the firstborn in Egypt. That's when they let us go. You see what it said? And smote all the firstborn in Egypt. This is the Most High doing, y'all. See, y'all, that's with all the things that he's saying that he did here, that we're supposed to be talking about, to bring the fear of the Most High. Once again, Psalm 76 and 7. Thou, this is the Most High. Even thou, that's the Most High, art to be feared. That means to be afraid of him, to be scared of him. Now you answer this question. And who may stand in thy, that's your sight, when once thou art angry? Can you? I know I don't want to stand in the sight of the Most High when he's angry. Not at me. You can, though. Since you talking about you ain't supposed to fear the Most High, you ain't supposed to be afraid of him, you ain't supposed to be scared of him. You can, though, right? Psalm 78:49, he cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. Evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence, and smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength, in the tabernacles of Ham. See, we not Hamites. We're Shemites. We can't be anti-Semitic because that's who we are. Well, we're Shemitic. I won't say Sem because I ain't seen Semitic in the Bible. You know what I mean? These are certain words that's been made up that have been created to, you know, say that we're out. And we're not really against no one. We're just trying to bring forth the truth to the world. How about that? But we can't stop the judgment. We couldn't stop the judgment upon us, could we? So the judgment that's upon everybody, you got to deal with the Most High on that. He's the one that said it's going to happen. And smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength, in the tabernacle of Ham. See, but made his own people. That's us, the 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel, he made his own people to go forth like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, so that they feared not. But the sea overwhelmed their enemies. See that? Like I told you. The sea overwhelmed Pharaoh and his chariots and all his army coming after us to put us back in slavery or kill us. Since he done lost his firstborn son. And he brought them to the border of his sanctuary, even to this mountain, which his right hand had purchased. That right hand is the angel of the Most High, MASHAYACH, the Spirit of the Most High. He cast out the heathen also before them, 7 nations, greater and mightier than us, Hamite nations, so-called African, and divided them an inheritance by line, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High power and kept not his testimonies. See, provoked the Most High to anger, kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dealt unfaithfully. Like their fathers, they were turned aside like a deceitful bow. Man. He told us in verse 8, he said, and it might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart, which is their mind, aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with the Most High. what we do. But turned back, verse 57, and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow, for they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. When the Most High heard this, he was wroth and greatly abhorred Israel. Hear that? When the Most High heard this, he was wroth and greatly abhorred Israel. Greatly hated us. Abhorred meaning he greatly hated us. Man, it's cold, y'all. You got to think in your mind. Just take a little time to think about that. All those plagues, 10 plagues the Most High put upon the Egyptians. All this to get him a name. And really for us to really, believe in him. Believe in him. And know that he's our power. And see that nothing happened to us. We was quiet. Well, all these things going on, these 10 plagues that we just read about, some of them. He brought darkness, killed people with darkness, all kind of things, man. What's happening? All get him a name. Verse 59, when the Most High heard this, he was wroth and greatly abhorred Israel, greatly hated us. So when y'all look at Romans 9:13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Most High say he greatly hated us. See, that's what I say when I like to do a comparison, and it don't even matter that the Most High say he greatly hated us to other people. It's just the fact that you gotta love their God, their power, the so-called white man. Most High wrote that. He made that happen. You see what he said? He said he greatly hated us, so that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory, which are we the glory of the Most High, the Israelites, into the enemy's hand. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. We the Most High's inheritance. 12 tribes of Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. The 12 tribes of Israel. Y'all should know them like that. You say you're Israelite, you should know them just like that. And somebody say the Israelites, tell them to name the tribes. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. The fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given to marriage. Virgins remained virgins, and going into captivity as a virgin, you know what happened with them. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. Dang, priests fell by the sword, and their widows didn't have time to even cry for them. Then the Most High awake as one out of sleep, and like a mighty man that shouted by reason of wine, and he smote his enemies in the hinder parts. He put them to perpetual reproach. He smote his enemies in the hinder parts, and put his enemies, they are enemies, they're his enemies too. Check that out. Because they got us in captivity. And he smote his enemies in the hinder parts. He put them to a perpetual reproach, disgraced them. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph, and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, Jacob's fourthborn son, the Mount Zion which he loved. You see, Judah's the head tribe. And he built his sanctuary high, high palaces like the earth, which he had established forever. He chose David, also his servant, who was of the tribe of Judah, and took him from the sheepfolds, from following the ewes great with young. He brought him to feed Jacob, his people, and Israel, his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. Say, but I just want you to hear about the Most High. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. If we can. So I made some statements. I want to make sure that you understand why I was making those statements. About the MASHAYACH, it was MASHAYACH, the angel of the Most High, Spirit of the Most High. 1 Corinthians 10, it says, let's start with verse 1. Moreover, brethren, all our conversations so far has come into Egyptian captivity, come out of Egyptian captivity into the wilderness. All the plagues that the Most High put upon the Egyptians, talking about him. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, not knowing. It's 1 Corinthians 10 and 1. How that all our fathers were under the cloud, as we read about in Psalm 78th chapter, and all passed through the sea, as we read in Psalm 78th chapter. And we're all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, because Moses led us out of the Egyptian captivity. And did all eat the same spiritual meat. We ate that same spiritual meat. What he was bringing forth from the Most High, YAHAWASHI, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. He was a spirit. He wasn't in the flesh. He was a spirit, an angel. That spiritual rock that followed them. And that rock was a MASHAYACH. That's why you look at spiritual drink is, it's water. And that water is the word. And he is the word of the Most High. Right? Listen. It says, and that rock was a MASHAYACH. That's why I was telling you one pastor was saying, we didn't take heed to MASHAYACH and didn't follow our high power Redeemer, the Most High. It said, you see? It said that spiritual rock that followed them, that cloud in the day that we read about, and the fiery cloud, a fiery pillar at night, just the chariots of the Most High, was a MASHAYACH, was a MASHAYACH. As the angel of the Most High, the Spirit of the Most High. But with many of them, the Most High was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our examples, what we just read. These are our examples. To the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Remember we talk about lusting? What was evil? One that had to have a lot of quail. That's what he gave was quail. He waited till they filled himself up and killed them. Because they lusted. And if they need a lot, they're gonna be the most complainers. Like a lot of y'all gonna complain during the times to come. You better decide. These are examples. You heard an example. You ain't hear it, then go back and start with one and look at it. Or just read Psalm 78th chapter. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just put yourself there. But with many of them, the Most High was not well pleased, but they were overthrown in the wilderness. He killed everybody. He let us roam around the wilderness for 40 years, till every last adult died that came out of Egyptian captivity of the 12 tribes of Israel. He let us roam around the wilderness for 40 years till every last one of the adults died. And he let Joshua and Caleb as adults, two men. He ain't said about no women, he said 2 men. And we had our women and children. Everybody died except for the children and Joshua and Caleb. And we trying to make it to the kingdom now. He said he's going to take one of a city, 2 of a family. I don't think people believe that. But with many of them, the Most High was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. He brought us out 600,000 men. He killed 599,998. I can do the math. I know I can count 2 from 600,000. You do the math. He killed everybody. All the men and all the grown women. All the grown men, all the grown women. Listen. Now, these things were our examples to the intent we should not lust after evil things. See, y'all better understand. As they also lusted. You know? You got to think, because Proverbs 16:4, in our worlds that we in now, better understand. Proverbs 16:4. I guess in the spirit is leading up to where I got to go. But Proverbs 16:4 says, the Most High have made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So you got to think in your mind, well, what are the wicked doing that's evil that I'm doing? And when you understand and operate with thinking about these scriptures with all listening and things that you see and the things you experience in the world, it keeps you from that evil. You'll recognize it. And when you expose it to people, then they rolling with spirits. That's why I went over this anxiety, which are spirits that people be dealing with, that they can't really, get rid of because of the fact of they've been there. And it becomes normal. And you become unnormal when you expose them. That's why I said, look, the Most High has made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So that's what they're dealing. They were dealing with evil in the wilderness. They done seen all the things. Look, the Most High did all that to get him a name. Right now, the things you seeing right now, this going to be to get the Most High a name. Forever and ever and ever. That's nothing compared to what he going to do in our time. In these last days, that's what's written. And what he's going to do, his ways and thoughts, not our ways and thoughts. When he come up with something that he's going to do, you think you ready? That's what I say. You ready to stand before the Most High when he's angry? That's why I brought it out so much, because we're in those times now. We really in them times. Look what it say. 1 Corinthians 10:6. And we in the evil time now. We in Jacob's trouble. Knowing we got next. Y'all better wake up, man. They say this is a spiritual warfare on a high level. It ain't something that you seeing unless you in the spirit to know what's written and see what's happening and stand abreast of what's. So they say, watch. You better know what to watch for. Therefore, you better be inquiring about what it is you should be looking for. Or you already know. As far as I'm concerned, everybody already know. You know what it says as far as the prophecies and so forth. What to look for, what to watch for, and see it manifest. And then it ain't going to be manifested the way you could think that it's written here, totally, because you got to look at it. Wow, we in a different day and time. They only can describe things as they seen it from the time they live. Like, you can't describe something that's going to be futuristic. How cars look like ain't no cars on the ground no more. They flying in the air. That's futuristic. I just make it up. How they gonna be looking? Describe. You're gonna come up with something that you could describe yourself. Car just going up with wings or something that you see now. Don't even have to look like that at all. Futuristic, like right now, you don't see nothing that's drawn in the Bible like a car. You see, but they did have jets, helicopters, blimps, and submarines on the pyramids. Check that out. Look just like jets, helicopters, submarines, and blimps right on the carved into the pyramids. That's why I say a lot of things you don't know about because they didn't take the time to find out. What these hieroglyphics saying? What is our language saying in Hebrew? Lashwan Kodasha, ancient Hebrew. What do we know about that? What do we really know? And going and they always digging and trying to find something, right? But they don't really understand it. Because they were moved out of societies for 1,000 years. And society was still rolling. All that information and all that we had and knowing, you getting the children of Israel. You are capturing the children of Israel, the Most High chosen people, point blank. Now, you ain't drained the brain, so you want to exalt yourself. So now, that's why you got the Discovery Channel and the History Channel, trying to find out what time it is. But see, this is what we did. That's why Most High said he made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. That's why he allowed the wicked to be in control of the world, the last empires. That's why Job 9:24 says, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He who is the wicked covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Come on. What more judges than the Most High? Ain't no more judges than the Most High. So it says, verse 6, it says, now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things. So you're supposed to be looking at the things that they're doing that's evil as they also lusted. You know, you got to understand. Keep this in mind. Where do we come from before we went into the wilderness? We came from being around who? And looking at who? And we in captivity, but we wasn't always in captivity. Understand this. We ruled Egypt for about 4 dynasties. So don't get it twisted. Let's just say we were greatly exceeding mighty. You won't be exceeding mighty and you ain't ruling. Are we exceeding mighty now, Israelites? No. No. We just exceeding mighty with the Spirit of the Most High working with us as his chosen people. Straight up. Can't change that. Can't nobody change that. But as far as strength and having all the things that's necessary to deliver ourselves, no. Ain't no man going to deliver us. Deuteronomy 28 and 29 says that. So we got to rely on the Most High. Everybody should, but everybody's not. Look what we did. Verse 7, neither be ye idolaters. That's canceling out the Most High. As were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. They sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Made that calf. Made that golden calf. Took the earrings from our sons and daughters, it says, and made that calf. Rose up to play. He said, neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day. 23,000 fell in one day. 23,000 in one day, y'all. We ain't seen nothing like this. 23,000 in one day of us. Neither let us tempt MASHAYACH, who is the angel of the Most High, the Spirit of the Most High. Neither let us tempt MASHAYACH. We in the wilderness, y'all. See. Like I say, verse 1, moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant. I mean, not knowing how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea, just like we just read in Psalms 78th chapter. And we went over this during the time of the Passover, one-on-one. You see? And then going into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Passover on the 14th and the 15th. This is the time we're supposed to remember. So they didn't remember, like a lot of y'all don't remember, our deliverance from Egypt. That's the 15th day. That's when we delivered. We gathered everything from the Egyptian on the Passover day. And that night, next night, which is the 15th, is when we left Egypt. And we supposed to be, going into exalting the Most High while YAHAWASHI for delivering us. Freeing us from captivity. All this is examples that we just read in Psalm 78th chapter. Verse 6, now these things are examples to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. What he's saying, what I hear him saying is, we got to look at people saying, call on your ancestors. I'm calling on Paul right now to give the understanding of what the Spirit gave him, Holy Spirit gave him to bring to us today. In 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, you see, and wherever else we go, whoever prophet or apostle, you see, that's our ancestors. That's why he's saying, now these were our examples to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Don't do the same thing they did. Neither be idolaters, or as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. Made of calves. And this is who brought us out of Egypt. Can you imagine? Man, that's hurtful. When you love the Most High, man, that's hurtful when you think about him. And it's like, man, I can't believe that, you know, all the things that he done, and we sitting back in quiet. No blood. We got fresh water. Darkness killing people. It's light and dark. I mean, you know, day and night, just like it's normal. Everything normal with us. The river done turned to blood, and, you know, frogs all over the place, flies and locusts and, man, lice. Man, all these things happening, and nothing happened to us. And we seeing this, and still complaining and then turning to idolatry against the Most High. Verse 8, neither let us commit fornication as some of them committed and fell in one day. He killed how many? 20 and 3,000. Neither let us tempt a MASHAYACH. We in the wilderness, y'all. That's why I went to verse 1 and say, hey, pass through the sea, through the Red Sea, like we read in Psalm 78th chapter. And MASHAYACH is here. He was there. As some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. He had fiery serpents. Serpents eat us up. Poisonous snakes eat us up. He said, neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured. You heard that all throughout Psalm 78. Can he bring a table of food? Can he bring some bread? We ain't got no water. Complaining. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured. Remember, this is what? Verse 5. Verse 6, now these things were also our examples to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. These are examples. Listen. Neither murmur ye, verse 10, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. So MASHAYACH is called the destroyer. So when you read in Revelation 19:11, when he coming back to judge and make war, he already got a reputation. He already got a reputation as a destroyer. That's why, look, Matthew 10:34. Matthew 10:34. He already got a reputation. Think not. He said, don't even think that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Ooh, but a sword. And look, Revelation 19:11, he prophesying what he gonna do. Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open, he said, and behold, a white horse, pure righteous power. And he that sat upon it was called faithful and true. This is a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. And in righteousness, by the laws and the commandments of the Most High, he does judge and make war. And what's coming out of his mouth? Verse 15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. That's the laws and the commandments. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of it, and wrath of almighty power. Come on now. Look. Verse 17, and I saw an angel standing in the sun. This for us. Future prophecy. And he cried with a loud voice, saying, to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven. I just showed some buzzards on Facebook. They devoured this deer in 1 minute. Nothing was to be perceived. Listen, this word is real, man. This is what it says. he saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power. Man, I seen some sparrows eating some chicken. I ain't know birds eat meat. See, they could be eating us. That ye may eat the flesh of kings, hear this? And the flesh of captains, hear this? And the flesh of mighty men, hear that? And the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. Tell them the birds to eat them up. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Hear that? That's all these nations joined together to fight on MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. He's seeing it. Future prophecy for us. And the beast was taken. And with him the false prophet, all these religious people that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive, not dead, but alive, into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. What's that sword? Hey, verse 15, out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it, with the sharp sword, he should smite the nations. What it say? Verse 21, and the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth. Once again, verse 15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it, with the sharp sword, he should smite the nations. What's happened? Verse 21, and the remnant, that's going to be a remainder of a people, was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth. And all the fowls were filled with their flesh. We're going to feed the fowls. All right, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 10. That future prophecy. Say what to look for, you know that's going to happen. 1 Corinthians 10 and 11. Let's read verse 10, because he said, hey, neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer. That's what MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI as a destroyer. He is called the destroyer. So you ain't got to be concerned about him coming back and shooting rose petals and being all lovey-dovey, as they would say. No, he is the destroyer. He is the destroyer. Y'all hear what it say? He is the destroyer. Better ask somebody. Destroyed by the destroyer. Let's see if we can find him here. That's why he said, don't you think that I've come to send peace on earth? I've come not to send peace, but a sword. Look, go to Exodus 12 and 23. I told you I was a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI there. Look. You see, define the destroyer in 1 Corinthians 10 and 10. Exodus 12, 23. It says, for the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood, just the Passover, we in the house. He said, don't come out. We couldn't come out till the next day. He said, throw away the lamb that you have before the morning. He said, don't come out till the next day. So he said, for the Most High will pass through to smite the Egyptians. It's Exodus 12 and 23. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel, we put the blood around our door. And on the two side posts, the Most High will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer. The same destroyer that we're reading about in 1 Corinthians 10, who is a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, who we just read about in the future prophecy, say he's going to smite the nations. Out of his mouth will come a sharp sword, that he's going to smite the nations. He said the birds going to be filled up with their flesh once he kill all the people that he's going to kill. But Exodus 12:23 says, for the Most High will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Most High will pass over the door, right? And will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you, to kill you. Same words is used in Revelations. He gonna smite the nations, kill you. See, he's a destroyer. That's why when you see he's coming to judge, I'm like, well, he's already a destroyer. That's why he told the Romans, look, I could call down 12 legions of angels, take this all out. While the apostles and everything, they thought that he was going to restore the kingdom to Israel. But we ain't went through what we had to go through as of yet. When he was here in the flesh, he had to come for his mission, which was to die for the 12 sins of the 12 tribes of Israel. 1 Corinthians 10:11. Now all these things happen unto them for examples. See, he done told us twice. Told us in verse 6, now these things were our examples, to intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lust. So you better know what's evil. How you gonna know what's evil if you don't know what's good? How you gonna know what's good if you don't know what's evil? You gotta weigh the both. Once everything's a balance, man, you gotta weigh it out. Is that right or that's wrong? Is it evil or is it okay? Am I acting like a heathen? Am I an Israelite or am I acting like a heathen? That's why I said we ain't supposed to be with no heathens. We supposed to be with the other nations. They ain't supposed to be with us. You know? But if you acting like them, you are them. What's the difference? Make that make sense. Or not make sense. You act just like they act. They ain't not around you, but you act just like they act. Or even worse. Because the scriptures say our ways compass the ways of the wicked. So we talk the wicked ones our ways. So we can't be all high-minded thinking we all that either. Better humble yourself before the Most High visits you. See, now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come, upon whom the ends of the world are come. It didn't come for them. His time. It's right here during our time. The ends of the world are coming. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. Understand this. See, there has been no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. That's why they tell you in Ecclesiastes 2:1, when thou come to serve the Most High, who is the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob's name was changed to Israel. He became the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. It says, prepare. That's the preparation that you're supposed to be looking at. All these different topics and way of life that's been brought to you. That's the preparation. Yourself for temptation. And especially, you're going to prepare yourself for the tempter. You better be knowing the Most High's laws. You better be talking about the Most High said this. The Most High said this to you. Deceiver, you adversary, you enemy of the Most High. According to his laws, his commandments. Because that's what MASHAYACH did. That's our admonition too. When you read Luke the 4th chapter and Matthew the 4th chapter, when he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, what did he do? He came to him, tempting him. And he went straight to the law every single time. He had to leave him alone because he can't deal with the law. You see, he didn't bring the law when he tried to show, I know the Bible too. He ain't bring no law because he contrary to the law. The devil, Satan, the enemy, adversary, foe, deceiver, serpent, the dragon, the beast, the spirit of that's taking on those spirits whoever it is, better go into that law. Say that law out loud. That's why I said there is no temptation taking you but such as is common to man. It's common. You think he done had from the beginning all the way to the time that he told Eve. He said, Eve told him, if I eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, I'm going to die. What did he say? The first lie he told, you will not die. So some of y'all got to get that devil out of your mind. Telling you wrong, teaching you wrong. That's what I say, man. You got to let it go. You got to tell him you got to go. You rolling with the Most High, while MASHAYACH, MASHAYACH, tell him he got to go. Rebuke the devil. MASHAYACH, he got to get up out of there. A lot of y'all roll on y'all. It's common. It's normal. And you don't realize it. That's why you got to pay attention. You can't have the Holy Spirit and you rolling with the devil. You come out off. You keep coming off. You ain't rolling with the Holy Spirit. The Most High don't make no mistakes, man. That's why he said, you got to study. Show yourself approved unto the Most High. For real. There have no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. You understand this? But will with the temptation also make a way to escape. You know what he's saying? Put the devil there. Put the devil there for tempted. Maybe you understand that. Let's put the devil there. Who will not suffer you to be tempted of the devil? Above that ye are able. But will, with the temptation, with the devil tempting you, also make a way to escape. The way to escape is to learn the way of the Most High. And the MASHAYACH, his laws, statutes, commandments. That's what the MASHAYACH did. How you think he felt fasting for 40 days and 40 nights without drinking or eating anything? And he being tempted with food. Turn his rock into bread. You know. Being tempted 40 years, 40 days and 40 nights. He's been tempted by the devil. But will, with the temptation, with the devil tempting you, also make a way to escape. Make a way to you get out of this. That ye may be able to bear it. You see that? Wherefore, here we go. My dearly beloved. And you know the only beloved are who? The Israelites. My dearly beloved, just in case some of y'all think it's talking about y'all. What scripture is, be Israel my beloved? Or Israel his beloved? What scripture is that? Because it says, wherefore my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. So is it talking to everyone? Khan. Very good. Baruch 3:36. He hath found out all the way of knowledge, and have given it unto Jacob his servant. Right? And to Israel his beloved. Very good, very good. Very good, class. See? So when you see these words, you can't gainsay on it. You hear what he said? Wherefore, verse 14 of 1 Corinthians 10th chapter. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. Flee from following the churches, their religions and all that, because the Most High never gave us religion. Ask anybody that go to church, where's your religion in the Bible? Where's your faith that you believe in, your doctrine, your decree that you put on the wall? Where is that in the Bible? And you won't find that they can really justify it. We just read Psalm 78 and 5 down, where the Most High said we're supposed to teach our children the laws, his commandments. He wrote with his finger the work of the Most High. And they're supposed to teach them to their children, that they may remember the works of the Most High. That's why I went into the works of the Most High, talking about them. They can go in the books for me. And you too, if you're reading about them and if you take the time to start talking about them, that's what he said. But he said, but will with the temptation, with the devil tempting you, also make a way to escape. You're going to make a way for your escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Hear that? You may be able to bear it, like a MASHAYACH bear it. He bared it. Wherefore my beloved, who are, like I said, Luke 3:36. That's probably why they took, a lot of reasons why they took the Apocrypha out of the Bible, the 14 books, because it answers a lot of questions. And it's straightforward. You don't need that many breakdowns. You can read it and it's like straight up. He hath found out all the way of knowledge and hath given it unto Jacob, his servant. So when you see servant in the Bible, it's talking about the Israelites. And to Israel, that's the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, his beloved. So now he's saying in 1 Corinthians 10 and 14, wherefore my dearly beloved Israelites, as we just read, who the beloved are. Or show me where the Most High say he beloved Edom, my beloved Edom, my beloved Ammon, my beloved Moab, my beloved Ham, my beloved Elam, my beloved whoever. Where's that at? In the Bible. Because you got to, like I said, you got to get understanding to the precepts. And some people think you got to deal with the whole verse. Sometimes you not deal with the whole verse. You might deal with just one part. That here a little and there a little, it says. You see? It's very important to understand this. So now, he's saying we got to flee from idolatry. You got to flee from idolatry. And that's what they were dealing with. Come on. They made a calf. They said, this is who brought us out of Egypt. This is who killed Pharaoh and his chariots. Are you serious? That's cold, man. That's cold. That's real cold. And it's sad because when you think about, man, all the things that he's done, and you understand, it's not like where we at now, having come up with a great awakening. We knew these things. We were doing this, telling the children of Israel about the Most High, and they knew. The people that went into the wilderness, we remember, now the children might not knew, that was born in those 40 years, as we were going around in the wilderness, they might have not knew unless we told them. But the ones that came out of Egyptian captivity, every last one of them knew. When the Most High came down and showed up and showed out completely.